And hello to all my friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your Quadrants video for 2023, the much-awaited Quadrants video. So what is a quadrant and how does it apply to you? Well, each sign is getting your own video, your own divination. I've done all the heavy lifting and all the reading stuff ahead of time, so you'll notice I don't even have a tarot card on this table. That's all been done. We're just going to go over your notes here. So what is a quadrant? A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. So if we look at your year, like the full encompassing circle, we're going to take a piece of the pie out of that and break it down one quarter at a time. Each quadrant is going to represent 3 months of your year. The first quadrant is going to be January, February, March. The second quadrant will be April, May, June. The third will be July, August, September. And the fourth, of course, October, November, December. Now, of course, if you're great at taking notes, you only have to kind of watch this video once. You take some awesome notes that you can refer back to. For everybody else, this video will be up permanently. It's not going anywhere. So you can come back to reflect on your quadrants as they happen. I think it's best to check out your quadrant right before the new one starts so you can reflect back on the one that just passed and also get your new information for the one that you're about to live so you can remember and kind of refresh. So either way you're going to do that will be just fine. And let's go over a couple important other things here. Of course, this is the only time of year that I do quadrants it's basically because I go out a whole year. And the further out you go and the further out you look in divination, the fuzzier it gets. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory to everybody. Most people understand that. And for that reason, I usually don't divine out this far. I don't extrapolate out for 12 months. Usually I do like 6 at the most. So this is the only time of year that I do that, first of all. And, divination forecasting here is an outline. So this is not the specifics of your entire year, but it presents an outline that you can plan and prepare very important things too. So for example, we're going to look at things like vacation amongst 10 other topics here. So what is the best quadrant for you to take a vacation in? Spirit's going to figure this out by your sign and give you a couple bingos here, a couple little peaks or little marks here, little check marks on the map of when this would be the best time for you guys, for your sign to do that. Of course, this is a general reading and we have a lot of bubble energy tuning in to your sign, and that muddles it up a little bit. So that's why you really need a personal at the end of the day. And quadrants for the first time is being offered as a personal product, an audio product, so that way you have a keepsake and something to refer back to as well. But it's all about you and that. So what else are we going to talk about here? First of all, it's going to be generally a positive reading. The reason I do that, I don't do all just positive readings. Some people do that. I don't. I kind of give you the whole thing. But to keep this kind of short and concise, we cannot talk about every single thing that is going to happen in your year. And both, whether we talk about good or bad things, they're both good for planning and preparation, because the bad things you would just try to avoid, and the good things you would just go and move towards. Because at the end of the day, they're both functional, they both get the job done, but one is much better well received than the other. Much people would gravitate toward the positive, and hey, if it was a reading that was all about negativity, nobody wants to hear that. And then there would be those people that would be scared of certain events, and that just doesn't help. That only kind of brings it in more. It attracts it more. So we don't want any of that stuff. So this is going to be a relatively positive reading, long story short. Okay, so without further ado, now that you understand the ground rules, let's get moving with planning and preparing for your year. Okay, and here we go with Taurus. It is Taurus time, Quadrants 2023. You're noticing that there's no cards on the table. It's because all the card work is done. It's all in my notations here, so we're ready to go, guys. I can just kind of reel this information off. Otherwise, this would take 3 times as long and probably bore you to death with way too long of a video. So we're going to keep it concise, just like Spirit has kept your first couple of months very concise. In fact, your first half of the year, Taurus, is going to be much more, at least from a spiritual perspective, full of stuff they want to share with you. The second half, much more simpler themes as we go. So let's get to it, guys. The very first thing that I notice is I wrote in my notes that it's not really a love year for Taurus. If you're looking for new love, this is probably not the one. This is not where you're going to meet your soulmate or something like that. It doesn't mean that there's still not good things that can occur. It just means that, love stuff is going to be challenging in 2023. Now, the same thing for love can come up for coupled up, married Tauruses as well. So if it's not a love year for you, it just means challenges at home with your partner. It's just not going to be rainbows and unicorns, so to speak. So that's not a bad thing. It's just saying that this is not really the time to expect great things. This is going to be different for different Tauruses, but at the same time, there are other themes that they want you to focus on more in this year. So to begin, notice that I'm wearing your hat too. The Taurus bulls, of course, so here we go. The first major umbrella theme for Quadrant 1 is a major decision that has not yet been made that needs to be made. So a lot of my Tauruses in January, February, and March will be or should be making major decisions in their lives. This is something that cannot be delayed. Do not wait. Do not procrastinate. Probably the earlier you get this decision done, the better off you guys will be. I don't know what that decision is, but hopefully you'll have a good idea now, or at least in the next couple of months, what this is when it comes up, and you'll remember that we talked about it. They also tell you to breathe, so that's letting me know that, hey, this is something that stresses you out maybe, and you just got to relax a little bit. Take a deep breath. Remember that it's going to work out okay, and that you just need to do your part and make this decision. Get it done, okay? Now let's get into the specific pings. We have a ping for work that came up with choices in preparation, and balancing work. All come up as big themes for Quadrant 1, January, February, March. So choices are a good thing to see. It brings the power back to you, and it's less about fate. It's more of like your day-to-day thing. We have a love ping, even though I said it's not a love year, that we still are pulling information from love. Now, they talk about a bad environment in Quadrant 1, and that the ground is not really fertile here, and there's too much drama. Okay, so let me give it to you both ways. They're just trying to get you to avoid something. And this goes back to what I said in the very first part about that this is really not the greatest of love years for Taurus. So by saying the ground is not fertile, that's another way of saying maybe the suitors are bad. If you're single, you're just not going to meet your person at this moment. Or this is just, for coupled up Tauruses too, saying, hey, you're just going to have to deal with some challenges this year. It's not a big deal, but especially in Quadrant 1, this is where it starts coming in very noticeable for you. Okay, so you're just going to have to persevere and get through it just like you guys always do. So too much drama is obviously not something that we want, but none of us can avoid drama forever, right? It's going to hit everybody at some point. We have another ping here for finances coming up, pointing back to the work corner. So they talk about nurturing your work to really boost your finances right now. So what does nurturing your work mean? Well, it usually means putting a lot of energy into it. So, the family is not the fertile environment. Maybe the work is, okay? We talked about choices and balancing there with work. So balancing of the finances, getting enough money to where your Quadrant 1 is well financially balanced. And nurturing the workplace does that. We have a ping for busy and productivity here coming in as a one focal point. So there's something that they want you to get busy on, but this is just like one thing, okay? It's either like one hobby, one project, one account, one job, whatever it is. It's one thing. So if it's something like, I'm going to get busy and I'm going to diet and exercise, and then I'm going to do CrossFit, and I'm going to Spirit say, no. You just need to get busy with one thing here, okay? This January, February, March is about you picking one thing to focus on and get busy about it. Okay, we have taking risks and going for it. They say that this is the part that there is destiny to. This is fated. There is something that you're going to be taking risks in Quadrant 1 that is going to be beyond you. Okay, I don't have any more descriptors of it than that. They did keep that one a little vague, perhaps by design, but they're saying that this is meant to be. So the time for you to take risks, just know that it's less about your choices and more about predestined stuff, maybe stuff that was written for you to do before you came into this lovely body of yours. Safe and conservative, we also have a ping there, so that's interesting. And here what they want you to play safe and conservative is with overflowing love. So if like I said, no big changes in the love corner this quadrant for sure because of the bad environment. So if there's anything that feels like way too good to be true, you might want to give that a hard look. If somebody's acting a certain way that they don't normally act, they're being way too nice. That's the kind of vibe it gives me. And that's not exactly what it's going to be for you. It could be varying degrees of this here, but that's the energy of what to look for, is when you're getting way too much love kind of out of place here. That's what they want you to, once you see that, they want you to maybe back off a little bit here and play it safe and just kind of take a look at what's going on right there. So when we get into quadrant 2, guys, the big theme is that the home needs attention. They want your home place, your home environment. Even if you rent, it doesn't matter. It's still your home. Even if it's a temporary home, it needs the attention right now. So they talk about putting money into your home. So whether you're putting money into the home like renovations, repair, getting ahead of stuff and being proactive, or if you're just putting stuff in the home that you're buying, such as furniture, TVs, and all that kind of stuff. So the home, well, they do say it needs attention too. So there's something that the home doesn't have that you're really, Spirit is saying, hey, you should consider doing this, and you should consider doing it in quadrant 2, which is April, May, and June. Work, we have a ping again, so very busy work, first front-loaded part of the year for Taurus here. We have busy activity going on with work, so that is the message and the advice. It's probably getting busy on its own, and if it's not, it's time for you to get busy for it, okay? Take advantage of these great energies. This great busy energy is a good time to get things done, maybe get finances caught up and so forth. For love, we have a ping again. What they say here is basically, if you start getting excited about something with love here, find something else to get excited about. This is not the year to be focusing on this. Spirit's got a different directive for a lot of Tauruses. It doesn't mean it's going to hit everybody the same way, guys, but for a lot of you, they're saying, hey, you know what? This is just not the energetic draw. We really want your attention in a different corner right now, especially in quadrant 2, April, May, and June. We have another ping for health, which talks about action with family and friends. So this is a great quadrant, these 3 months, to do something to improve your health with other people that are very close to you. This is not like your friend from work who you just barely know. This is like close friends. This is hard attachments, family members, siblings, extended family, that kind of thing. They show you doing things to improve your health with somebody else. So this is good because you guys can hold each other accountable, check in on each other. Hey, how's your diet going? Hey, how's your exercise going? Whatever it is you guys are doing. Maybe even just do it together and just vibe while you're doing it. All great things to see in quadrant 2. Quadrant 2, we also have a ping for vacation. Vacation first making itself known here in April, May, and June. They say this is a good time to do it once you make up your mind. So they're saying, Taurus, a lot of you haven't chosen what you want to do for vacation this year or where you want to go. And if you have, I guess God bless you. You're one of the few that are. And once you make up your mind, you're good to roll with it. But they highlight April, May, and June as the best time to do it, early in the year at least. That wraps up quadrant 2. Let's get into 3, guys. Quadrant 3 talks about the main theme is that I have transport on an upside down. Come to the edge and have faith here. So for most people, this is car related or transportation related, whatever you get around town in. Most people, it's a car. So transportation upside down basically means it needs maintenance. Something needs work. Maybe it needs repair. This is the quadrant to do this, guys. You don't want to let it go any longer than this. And probably because it's upside down, you might not have a choice anyway. So maybe you could even get in front of this a little bit by doing it earlier in the year. They didn't say that. So it makes it feel to me like it's more inevitable. Like, if it was a major repair, for example, like a transmission. Well, if the transmission was going to go, it doesn't matter when it goes. It's just like you're stuck anyway, right? And it's an expensive repair, so you're stuck financially too. So by saying upside down here, I think that's what they're trying to tell me is that, something in quadrant 3 happens with that. And by saying come to the edge, they're saying they want you to have a little faith with the situation, okay? So unless they're talking about an actual Ford Edge, because the same word is the name of a car, just by coincidence, that'll maybe hit somebody, right? But, for the most part, they're just saying focus on the transportation in quadrant 3. We also have a ping here for finances coming up in Q3 with family finances that are not your doing. So this has nothing to do with you, but it still affects you and your family, something financial that is occurring and going on. I feel like it's a relatively good thing. I don't feel like it's bad because the question was proposed, what is the best quadrant or 2 best quadrants for Taurus to make financial moves? And they brought up 3. So this makes me feel like more of what would be pleasurable, but not, super happy, which would be like an inheritance. Like, yeah, it's nice to have, an influx of money, but it's not nice to lose somebody you care about. Something like that is what comes up financially. Of course, that example is probably not the best one to use, but I'm just saying here we have family finances that are not, of your earning, that are coming up in quadrant 3. So it's coming up for a reason. I'm not sure what that is for you, but it's a very interesting one, and it usually brings with it good financial news. We have a health ping for Q3 here, also doing the right way and will be the way. So they're saying, you cannot You cannot do this half-assed. You can't cut corners. You got to do this thing the right way. Whatever you're trying to do with health in the third quadrant has got to be fulfilled by the book. It has to be very on point, guys. So if it's a routine, you have to stick with it. If it's a diet regimen, you have to stick with it. So all that kind of stuff. We do talk about... We have a pin coming up for safe and conservative for quadrant 3, which is finance moving slowly. And because finance is moving slowly, with the exception of that family finance that some of you will get, others of you are going to be outside of that just naturally by attrition of the numbers of the people viewing this. We have, a lot of you are going to have to still play the safe and conservative, whether that message was for you or not, basically. So even if you do have the influx of money from the family here, maybe you shouldn't go crazy with it. Maybe you should, be safe with it. Do things that are needed and not wanted, that kind of thing. As we get into quadrant 4, the main theme is joy, which is the second best card in the deck, but it's coming in on a block. So it's a happy time, these 3 months, but they should feel a little happier than they are. There's something in the way. I call those booger bears. Like there's something in the way or impeding on that energy where that energy is not flowing full force, and it should be flowing full force, but something's in the way. So likely it's a circumstance or a situation that you guys are trying to deal with, get resolved, and then after that, man, boom, joy. Quadrant 4 is a big one, and that is why they didn't give me much information on quadrant 4, because don't got to talk about stuff when things are that good, that much. Trying to give you advice to, implement positive change here. We have a ping for busy and productive. It brings up like purging, hoarding energy. That's going to be full moon related, very much so. They talk about opening up spending too. So this is a kind of a good flowing month to start opening up some of the saving that you've done before. And we also have a ping for vacation too, so a lot of it may be being used to that, something fun like that. Now this vacation, they talk about, this is like a solo trip. This is something that you do by yourself, or maybe you go to meet somebody else, but you fly by yourself, to the Bahamas, for example, and then you hang out with them there and do that. So, and I do feel like that's tropical vibe. I don't think I wrote that on very many of my things here, but being that that's winter months, I guess that would kind of make sense. That's where you would go to kind of get away in a nice relaxation way. And it's not like you want to take a trip to Alaska in the middle of winter, right? So that is, of course, quadrant 4, which is October, November, and December. And that is going to wrap up that quadrant. So like I said, they weren't chatty about that one, but you can see the whole picture of how this outline is very vital and important for you implementing positive change into your life and planning and preparing certain things, like the best time for you to make work moves, the best time for you to do certain things financially that you're trying to do this year and accomplish, and 8 other categories that we've just gone through. So a lot of good stuff there. And this is a general reading for Taurus. We have a lot of bubble energy here, and that is why I put out this quadrants as a personal audio product for January only, guys. It is worth checking out on scottsagent.com, and it's the same concept as this, but it's all about you. It's personalized 100% to you, therefore it's very accurate. These are accurate too, but we're sharing the energy, so it's less specific. And in the personal one's very specific, and that'll help you get through your year in strength and confidence, and that's what it's all about. So that concludes Quadrants video. I hope you all have a wonderful 2023, and I'll see you soon.